Lita, over to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I always tell Lisa she's got one of the best smiles in caucus. I love that smile. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a fantastic day so far with so many exciting presentations. I hope that our discussion today will add to the experience that you've had so far. I have with me 6 party members from across the province, from different communities who are here to share a little bit about themselves and to discuss the diversity within our party and the importance of cultural engagement. Pragas, I've known you for a few years and I've seen you evolve into a wonderful activist. Your family and your community must be so proud of you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I guess I can start by telling you a quick story. So my father came to this country about 33 years ago. He was a refugee that fled Sri Lanka's genocide. And he came to Canada to make Canada's new home. Soon after he came to Canada, he found a job at a flower shop working for $4 an hour. And then if you fast forward to today, it was hard work and living a conservative life within his means. He was able to build a nice life for himself and my family. So today he's sponsored all of his family. He has 2 houses under his name and he's living a debt-free life. So it's something that I'm proud of.
I know many of you Canadians have lived a similar type of struggle. Noor, I know your family has an interesting story. Why don't you share that with us?
It's an honor to be here to discuss a topic that is important to me and one that is important and one that I think it makes Canada such a beautiful and unique place to live in. So thank you. As for me, I'm a Syrian Canadian-born citizen from Mississauga, Ontario. My father came here in 1982, fleeing the First Lebanese War, where he sought a better life like many other immigrants and better opportunity. Here he met my mom, who had moved a few years after him in 1989 from Syria. They got married, they had children, and I'm the first of them. Growing up, I've seen both my mom and dad work super hard to, put food on the table, to put clothes on our backs and a roof on our heads, and my family, not a day goes by where they're not grateful for having been given the opportunity to be able to come to this country and build a life here. And my father's always telling us, never take for granted that you guys are born in this country, that you have to be grateful and you have to work hard and give back to your communities. So that's kind of the mindset that I come from. But other than that, I'm a U of T grad from Victoria College. I currently own my own online retail. Hey! I currently own my own online retail business where I was able to leverage my social media following. I do blogging on the side, and I have about 100,000 followers on Instagram now, so it's something I'm pretty proud of. But through that, I was able to connect with many young, ambitious, smart, educated women all over the world and all over the U.S. and in Canada, and it's been such a rewarding experience. On social media, actually, I get asked this question almost every single day: where are you from? And when I tell them I'm from Canada, they are amazed because they see this girl who's proud of her religion, who practices her religion, yet at the same time is a proud Canadian and is, the combination of those 2 facts is something that for them is astonishing, especially when you consider that many of these women moved from their own countries and moved to, they've immigrated to other countries where they're not treated equally and they're discriminated against based on the way they look or where they're from. And so for them to meet somebody who's able to balance between those 2 things is amazing. And so when they ask me, how's Canada like? Are you ever discriminated against? Do you ever face any sort of discrimination? And when I tell them I don't, they're always amazed. How is Canada? How is that possible? Like, how is Canada like that? And when I tell them that it's true, Canada is the most diverse, multicultural, accepting country in the entire world, and I'm proud as a Muslim, as a Syrian, to be Canadian.
I know that everyone here in that room shares that same sense of pride with you. I can't imagine living anywhere else in the world. Jamie, we've been friends for a while. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I was born here in Ottawa and grew up in Sudbury, Northern Ontario. I started my career here in the city working for Jason Kenney for 6 years and very much spent a lot of time traveling the country. I had the good fortune to experience that ethnic outreach and kind of pioneer the model for the Centre-Right. I now am proud to call downtown in the great city of Toronto home, and run a small communications firm called Canaptus, and also have co-founded Blue Skies Ontario last year with Lee Paul.
Wonderful. So you're from Toronto. Let's go to our Eastern Ontario panelists next. Raven, what's your background?
Thank you, Rita. And, I came to Canada 15 years ago as a computer engineer, and now I live in Iping, actually in the Ottawa area. And when I first arrived in Canada, I couldn't find a job. So I started my own company called comefromchina.com. It's a website. So. I couldn't find a job, so I started my company. The website to help the newcomers to overcome these cultural barriers and the differences, because we need Canadian experience to have a job. So, but it turned out really good. I have now the website is very popular. We have over 4 million clicks every month. So because of the success of this website, I also print my own newspaper called the CFC News, which is also in Chinese language. Because I own this media company, the biggest media company, Chinese language media company in Ottawa. So I support a lot of Chinese culture events and activities, and to preserving and promoting the Chinese culture and heritage. So I also welcome Patrick to join us for these cultural activities.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So our caucus recently hosted a wonderful Chinese New Year celebration in Scarborough with over 700 people. The turnout and the excitement there was very impressive. Betty, why don't we go over to you? We haven't known each other for very long, but I'm quickly becoming a fan. Why don't you tell the audience more about yourself?
Well, Nita, I live in the riding of Elgin, Middlesex, London, only about 30 minutes from my birthplace, St. Thomas. I was educated in a small village, married, and raised 3 children on a farm. I enrolled as a mature student at the University of Western Ontario, gained a degree in finance, and this distinguished recognition as a Fellow of the Institute of Canadian Bankers. While engaged in a 35-year career as a banker, I must tell you that we're very proud of our MPP, Jeff Urick, a hard-working constituency person and a great tribute to the caucus as health critic. And I need help now. At that time, as a professional woman in finance, I was a minority.
Well, I certainly commend you for stepping out and doing something that wasn't the norm at that time, Betty. Right next to you, we're very lucky to have with us on the panel our newest MPP, Lauren. Lauren, congratulations again on your victory at the
Thank you.
I've heard this is really impressive, folks. I heard you won all but 4 small polls in the by-election.
That's right.
Fantastic. That's really something. Tell us a little bit about your life before becoming an MPP and your involvement with different communities in Durham region.
Well, prior to being elected, I worked for a period of time in the private and public sectors, in communications and public affairs. And subsequent to that, I did run for Durham Regional Council, where I served for 13 consecutive years. And one of the committees that I served on was and chaired was the Partnership Council on Diversity and Immigration. And there's a multiplicity of communities in the Durham region that that particular Partnership Council served, because in Durham region, over close to 30% of that area is multicultural. So the cross-section was Tamils, Sikhs, and a variety of multicultural organizations.
So we've heard a little bit about all of our panelists here. The first question I'm going to pose to you is, what drew you to the conservative movement? What makes you a progressive conservative? For me, my views evolved as I grew older and became more aware of where my hard-earned money was going. I became sick and tired of hearing about all the waste and scandal, and I decided that there has to be a better way, and there is a better way to run government. Pergas, what makes you a conservative?
I want to go back to talking about my father again. So my father's been working at General Motors in Oshawa for the past, I'll say 30 years. Since the 90s, I think General Motors had about 15,000 employees. But now if you look at it, they're only employing 3,500 employees. So every year, my dad would come home to us and tell us, I might not have a job this year, I might not have a job this year. So I grew up in a family, and I heard that quite a lot. I know Patrick Brown's Ontario is going to promote job creators, because what Kathleen Wynne's doing right now is she's giving handouts to people that simply refuse to go out and find a job. So it's unacceptable and has to stop.
What drew you to the conservative movement?
Well, firstly, I believe that the role of the government is to serve the people, not the other way around. I believe the function of the government is to provide a safe and secure environment, socially, economically. What drew me to this specific conservative movement is Patrick Brown himself. His pragmatic approach to conservative, thank you, Patrick Brown. His pragmatic approach to conservative values is what I find refreshing and what draws me and resonates with me the most. His ability to work with others and create, and he realizes that we need to restore a more inclusive and diverse culture within the party. That's something that I can appreciate. That's something that I love, and that's exactly what draws me to this conservative movement. Patrick says this all the time. There's no monopoly on a good idea. And so when somebody comes up with a good idea, we don't dismiss them because they don't believe in the things we do. We work with them. We work with them to see the best policies put forward that will make Ontario the best that it can be.
Yeah. You know what, I think Patrick's done a great job of communicating that message, and I know you're not the only one that it's resonating with. Betty, I know that you are a very dedicated and long-time party activist. What or who brought you on board to the conservative movement?
Well, I was drawn into the conservative movement through interaction with my rural neighbors and my new family. Hard-working farm people with strong conservative leanings. I was then introduced to working as a volunteer in the local elections. Guess it was natural to be a conservative, and I gained plenty of experience in my banking career, helping people balance their budgets and increase their earnings. And I understood the importance of sound fiscal discipline, which I feel is one of the best traits of the Conservative Party. I believe in the encouragement of individual peoples rather than all of the government interference that we're seeing now.
Betty, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for all the work you've done for the party over the years. You've been a real stalwart, and I think you deserve a round of applause for your dedication. So I'm interested in knowing from our panel, what impact do you see from the outreach initiatives of our leader and the party? Since Patrick became leader, he's put forth a new outreach strategy, which appears to be working. I've seen firsthand how hard our whole caucus has been working on building relationships with different communities across the province. Where do you think this is going, Jamie? What impact do you see?
I think what we've seen is Patrick's genuinely fueling the renewal of the party and putting real credibility and resources behind the outreach. I was proud with dozens upon dozens of activists last year to march in the Toronto Pride Parade, which is something we haven't seen from the party for a while. And it doesn't stop at Pride. It's in Boston, Mississauga, it's at Gregoire and Brampton, and across the province. And I think it's bringing a real palpable energy of saying, hey, let's talk about what the Ontario PC Party is, where we're going, and starting to build what will be a solid vision for 2018.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing your insight on that, Jamie. Betty, as a longtime party activist, how do you feel about the outreach initiatives that are underway?
The impact of the outreach initiative of our leader and the party is phenomenal. Before we started into the leadership race, we had around 12,000 people, party members. Patrick and his team grew his contribution to over 44,000 members, and now I understand we're over 80,000 members. EML is a riding with a distinct pleasure to sign up members. I had people calling me, how do I get a membership? And I really appreciated the Liberal people that asked, how do I become a member? That was a plus. Patrick Brown taught by action, encouraging volunteers to reach out, be more inclusive, and he worked tirelessly. He and the party workers demonstrated this by building relationships throughout the entire province with professional associations, on campus, hockey rinks, church basements, and cultural communities, and in every walk of life and age, culture, and gender.
I know a lot of work has been done on this front, and there's much more to come. What are your thoughts on this, Pragas?
Increasing the party's membership by tenfold is no simple task, and it goes to show you that with hard work, you can pretty much accomplish anything you want in this country. This new Ontario PC Party is well represented by all sorts of groups, including teachers, doctors, and nurses. So I think that's something that we should all be proud of, and should look forward to going forward.
I think there's a great sense of pride in how our party is evolving. I can certainly feel it in this room today. We've had some really exciting presentations, and the energy has been really wonderful in the room. Lauren, before you were elected as an MPP, you were quite active in cultural engagement. What's your take on being present in cultural communities?
Well, I think it's the absolute right direction that Patrick and other members of the party have taken. In my experience, it's about relationship building, isn't it? It's about relationship building and understanding and working to understand the multicultural sectors that form this province. But it also, to extend that, it also means being respectful as you take the time to understand the nuance and subtext, the values within those multicultural communities, and working hard to ensure that those multicultural communities understand our policies going forward, and that they are part of the process of shaping those policies and helping us to implement them, and also to take on ownership in helping us to succeed. And I saw in my experience as the chair of the Partnership Council in Durham Region, in the course of developing policies like we're doing together now, that it was very successful, and people wanted to be part of that process. And I think going forward, not only with the work that I've done in Durham Region, but work that I've done more recently representing the leader in multicultural sectors across the province, we're going to succeed in the same way. And the multicultural communities will want to help us form the government in 2018.
Well, we've all seen now for the past 14 years what wasteful government looks like. Life has become harder under this Liberal government. Noor, what does good government look like to you?
As I mentioned before, a good government, or a good conservative government, is one that serves the people, is one that provides a platform that allows people to access it socially, economically, in an equal way. It protects the civil liberties and provides security and safety to its citizens. It's inclusive and respects the diversity of its people as well. A good conservative government does not discriminate against certain groups of people or marginalize certain groups of people and favor others. A good conservative government doesn't use fear as a way of progressing any sort of political agenda it has. A good conservative government also doesn't divide, it unites. And if we keep on that pace in 2018, we will win the election, I think. There you go.
Riven, how about you? What does good government look like to you?
I believe good government should be first accountable to spend the money wisely, and second, responsive. They have to respond to the matters of the people's needs in the timely fashion. And the third is honesty and integrity. Everybody knows the current government visiting our dollars and deleting emails and for the gas planet scandal. The good government should not do that. Right? And the last point I want to make, also agree with Nora, made that is the good government should be inclusive, right? And they have to respect the differences on the issues between the visible minority and the majority, such as family value and work opportunities, and also religious or heritages. For example, the Chinese would like to live with their parents. If the government can issue some tax credit to them, that will help this family greatly. And also for education, rewarding the student should not only based on the family income, also have to based on the academic success. And thank you. And for the work opportunities, I believe a lot of newcomers have problem to find a job, but ease that entry to professional career is very important, such as doctor, nurse, and engineers. We all know we have a big problem to find a job, even if we have a certificate back in China or some other country. The government should realize this and give us a very easy route to find a job. At the last, I believe a good government would make Chinese Lunar New Year an official holiday.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting that signal to wrap up. So it appears that our time is up. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. Myself and the other panelists will be here for the duration of the convention. So please do feel free to come up to any one of us and continue the discussion on the importance of diversity in the party and cultural engagement. I know that, actually I promise you, we have more exciting programming coming up. I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Nita, Newer, Jamie, Pragas, Riven, Lorne, and Betty. Clearly you can see how they inspire and lead by example. And our party is so much better because of all of their involvement. Thank you so much for sharing your personal stories. And now, ladies, yes, let's give them another round of applause.